All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily. Man, feels so good to be back. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you like daily Rockets content, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Love seeing your guys' comments. All the positive support means a lot to me. We're 19 subscribers away from 1.2K, but I think the ultimate goal is like 2,000 subs by the end of the season. Sounds kind of crazy. I think it is a little bit crazy, but every like, every comment, every share, it's greatly appreciated, man. So thank you guys for watching. Saw a tweet from Chancellor Johnson about 3 hours ago, and it was basically like a 20-30 second clip of Dennis Schroeder talking, and this was the tweet. Thought this was interesting. Dennis Schroeder, who is an unrestricted free agent this summer, keep that in mind. I think that's one of the big reasons I really like that Daniel Theis trade, getting him off of the books. Here's a quote from Dennis Schroeder. "We can create something here. This season, of course, but for the future as well." It makes you think, man. It makes you think. So next we have a tweet from Roosh Williams, Clutch Fans, one of my favorite Rocket accounts. If the Rockets brought back Schroeder, they would have 14 players under contract next year. That's a lot. KPJ, Green, Gordon, Wood, Şengün, Martin, Christopher, Tate, Nwaba, Garuba, Matthews, Nix, and Wall, and 2 first-round picks guaranteed contracts if signed. This team needs trades badly. So I want to go through a couple of guys that I would love to actually see get traded in the offseason this year. And we're actually, guys, we're going to start this with Christian Wood, man. We're starting this with Christian Wood. Christian Wood's a coin flip to a lot of different people. Christian Wood, to me, is not anything statistically. It's not anything like that. It just comes down purely based off of, like, honestly, my eyes. I don't really like the attitude Christian Wood has. I don't like him getting at the younger players earlier on in the season. I don't like him not coming into games. But as I've mentioned, I don't really like talking about that because I guess we don't really know the full story. But for me, this is more of like a heart type of thing. I just don't think Christian Wood has it in his heart that he is going to become like a top, I guess he's a center now, a top center in the NBA. I just don't see it happening. And the thing is, Christian Wood's a good basketball player. He's going to get his bag every game. This has been abundantly clear since the trade deadline, before the trade deadline, the whole season. No matter what, Christian Wood wants his bag every game. Christian Wood wants to get paid desperately. I know he might not come out and say that, but why would you not want to get paid? This man's been in the NBA for 6-7 years now. He's never really been given a proper opportunity until last year. Why would he not want to get paid? Definitely don't hold that against him. I definitely am not holding that against him. I hope he gets paid. I just don't think him getting paid with the Rockets is the best route for the future of this basketball team. I think Şengün is a much better. I know we've only seen him for over half a season, but I just think Şengün is a much better play. I think he's a much better play. I'd love to see them even go out and get maybe a Chet Holmgren or a Paolo Banchero and pair him next to Şengün. Chet would be definitely a little bit interesting. Both players would be interesting, but basically what I'm trying to get at here is I have nothing but love for Christian Wood, but I just don't think he's my long-term guy. I just don't think he's my long-term guy. I would much rather build around somebody else, or at least keep our options open heading into certain free agencies and trading for disgruntled stars. I know that might be a hot take because I know a lot of fans love Christian Wood. I'm going to get a lot of negative comments about this take, but Christian Wood just isn't the dude to me. He is not the dude. Now, if he is willing to come back on a totally acceptable contract, I'm for it. I would be for it. The thing is, my acceptable contract and his acceptable contract were probably about $10 million away from each other. Eric Gordon, I think he's going to remain a Rocket for life. I truly, genuinely believe that. If they didn't trade him this season, I just don't. Eric's the type of good guy where he's going to be like, I'll come back on a player-friendly contract, or a team-friendly contract, sorry. I just... At this point in his career, I don't know how much gas he has left in the tank. By the time his contract's up, I don't know what contender that didn't want to trade for him in the trade deadline for an $18 million contract would want to in this season. So honestly, I think Eric Gordon's here to stay. Looking at this list, though, I genuinely don't know who they're going to trade. I really don't know who they're going to trade, and I don't think that they make all that many moves. Maybe Christian Wood, maybe David Nwaba. I think David Nwaba is a good trade candidate just because of his playing time on the Rockets. He just doesn't really get much playing time, and it makes sense. I mean, he's a little bit on the older end. Every team needs those veterans, though, but you could make the argument, look at a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have like one veteran, Derek Favors, and they are, I think personally, having a much better season than the Houston Rockets right now. I mean, just they're a very bright, promising basketball team. Not that the Rockets aren't, but we have so many veterans for what reason? Like a lot of veterans. I don't mean just like one or two. I mean like Eric Gordon, John Wall. I don't really want David Nwaba, Daniel Tice, all these veterans. Jae'Sean Tate probably here to stay long term. So I think that's kind of like the whole gist of this is you have 14 players and you're going to have 2 first-round draft picks. So you're going to need to make a move. I think it's going to be Christian Wood or I think it's going to be David Nwaba. It's a really, the whole Christian Wood situation is honestly extremely intriguing. And then once again, if you were to re-sign Dennis Schroeder, which it seems like the Houston Rockets are definitely interested, 2 of those players are going to be gone, need to be gone. And John Wall, maybe he gets bought out at some point next season, but the Rockets aren't really in a rush for that. Daishen Nix is a player I'm a little bit worried about, where he might just get straight up cut. If the Rockets don't have enough space and they're not trying to trade Nwaba, they're not trying to trade Christian Wood, you're trying to re-sign Schroeder, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Daishen Nix is the odd man out, which really sucks, but it's tough, man, because you can't trade KPJ, you can't trade Şengün, you can't trade Martin, Christopher, Tate, Garuba, Matthews, or Nix. You're probably not going to trade any of those basketball players. You're not going to cut any of those players except for Daishen Nix, which really sucks. But going back to the whole Christian Wood thing, I'm fine with keeping him until his contract is over. In fact, I wouldn't be upset one bit if they decided to keep him for another season. And maybe if they'd even trade him at next year's deadline, I don't think I would be all that upset, because Christian Wood's a guy who, when he first signed with the Houston Rockets, I was so big on this dude. If you go back, you watch my videos on my main channel, I was so big on Christian Wood. Before he played his first game with us, I called it Christian Wood 20 and 10, put it in pen. And what does he end up doing? He goes 20 and 10 last season. So, I had very high hopes for Christian Wood, and he's still a good basketball player, but I hate the fact that he doesn't pass to these teammates. He just seems too selfish. He just seems too selfish for me to want him to be the dude we build around. Our superstar player. Even if Christian Wood just decides to go off the last 20 games of the season, puts up 23 and 12, that doesn't really change it for me. Now, I do think he probably gets a bad rap. It seems like none of the players obviously have any type of issue with him. None of the coaches seem to have any type of issue with him. But sometimes he'll just have these little outbursts where it's dude, you're supposed to be the damn veteran of this team. You're supposed to help mentor these young players, and you're just setting a bad precedent. You're setting a bad example, and that's not a guy I would want to give a fat bag to. So I'm sorry if Christian Wood is the guy in your opinion. I'm still keeping an open mind to it. If he can get to 20 and 10 by the end of this season, like I said, I'm still even more willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and try and get through it. But as Clutch Fans points out here, man, this team needs to do some trades. They're going to need to make trades because you have 14 guys under contract. You have 2 first-round picks, which means you're going to have 16 dudes under guaranteed contracts, and they're probably going to want to bring Dennis Schroeder back because I don't know why else you would not buy him out right now. There's no reason why you wouldn't buy him out right now. So that's 17 dudes. So you're going to need to see 2 of those players gone. I don't think the Rockets will make that many free agent moves, if they even make any free agency moves. As boring as that is, that's probably in the Rockets' best interest, unless they were to trade 3 of these guys. I think what you're looking at maybe here is a draft trade. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if the Houston Rockets use their first-round draft picks, Christian Wood, David Nwaba, as leverage to whatever team is ahead of them to try and trade up in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised one bit on something like that. Or even if you trade away Christian Wood, David Nwaba for a future draft pick for like next season's draft. So we'll see, man. But I'm definitely rooting for Christian because I want him to get his trade value up as good as high as possible. I also want him to play the best basketball he can possibly play. But I'm absolutely sick of him getting the basketball, getting a rebound, running down court, hogging up the whole damn shot clock, and then taking an ill-advised shot when you have literal 2+ dudes wide open at the arc. It happens every single game, and it happens several times every single game, and that's gone on this entire basketball season. So I don't know. Drop some comments down below. Who do you want the Houston Rockets? Maybe not want. Who do you think the Houston Rockets should go ahead and trade come this offseason? Drop it down below. Hit the like button. Hit that sub button. As always, I'll see you guys later.